Get to know me a little bit more. I know I'm always on YouTube, joking around, having fun, pranking my husband. But I'm gonna express, my life a little bit, tell you a little bit about me. My name is Jessica Anderson. I'm 35 years old. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. My mother passed away when I was 4 years old, so that was really devastating. I could remember when my sister had woke me up and said, Jessica, mom died. I was 4 years old. I didn't think anything of it until later in the years, My sister took me in. She already had, I believe, 2 kids already of her own. But I'm sure she had 1 already of her own. But I'm pretty sure she did have 2 of her own. So she took me as well because she didn't want me to be in the system. So they did put me in the system for a little while, I believe, for like a month or whatever, to get paperwork ready to see if I fit in the house, if she was able to take care of me. And then they put me back with her, and I lived with her about until I was 16 years old. But school, high school, middle school, I hated it. We moved from New York, from Coney Island. We moved up here to Connecticut, Hartford. She got a house, rented a house in West Hartford. Now she had 4 kids. So, they were old. I believe her oldest is maybe 30 something. It was hard, ends meet, of course we were on welfare, it was a struggle with food, it was a struggle with everything, seeing her getting abused in relationships. We really were against that. We tried to, hit the guy that was hitting my sister and that was hitting my niece's mom. We tried to hit them back or whatever. Because we didn't want to see that, and we didn't want, her to go through that. So we tried to be there for her, as well, when she was getting hit. I've seen a lot of stuff in my life, been through a lot of stuff that, I'm not ready to share yet, but to jump into my life real fast, like I said, I was born in New York. Brooklyn, New York. Then I came out here, with my sister, lived with my other sister, went back to New York from here, moved with my other sister. Things didn't work out over there with her, so I moved back up here again with my other sister that originally lived in New York. Things didn't work out. I was a teenager thinking I knew everything was, whatever I was doing was right. I was never wrong. I used to get hit, didn't care, used to skip classes, write notes, get in trouble, knew I was going to get a phone call, knew I would get hit when I got home for that, but I didn't really care. Then I just, couldn't take the hit beatings anymore, it was my fault, but I just couldn't take it anymore, so I moved out, became an emancipated minor, got my own apartment upstate New York, got pregnant when I was 16, had a abortion. That was devastating because, always wondered if it would be a boy or a girl. But then again, my sister talked me out of it, my other sister. And I was into fashion always, so I wanted to get my belly button pierced, wanted to get my nose pierced, tongue, all of that. So she's like, Jessica, you're too young to have a baby right now. Because I already asked if I can get my tongue and belly button pierced, and she already had said no. And if I can get, and she said hell no. But this sister, she wasn't as strict as my other sister. She never hit me or whatever. Um, so she's like, you get an abortion, I'll let you get your tongue pierced and your belly button. So, I'm 16. I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, let's do it. So, I got that abortion. When, was living with my sister still. 19 years old, I moved, went upstate New York. Got pregnant with my daughter at 19, had her at 20. My firstborn child, she's 16 now. It wasn't rough. I had my own, had my own job. I was doing it by myself, a single mom. Her father wasn't in her life. He wanted to deny her. He was in and out of jail, using drugs, stealing stuff, robbing people, doing all of that. So I had my daughter by myself. My sister came, the one that I originally lived with, she came up. And when I had my daughter, she came up and, she met my daughter the next day. I had my daughter May 22nd, 2003, Maya Hendricks. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. She grew up to be really beautiful, smart, did bad choices, so she's dealing with it now. But she's really beautiful, very smart. So I had her at 20. Had my little job working in a supermarket in a little town upstate. Then, I got 6 kids in all. Not every kid is by the same guy, obviously. Had 5 baby fathers. When you're young, you believe that they say that they love you, so you're like, oh my God, he loves me. Shows a ring to you. Oh, he's gonna marry me, and the little fantasy world that guys tell all girls. So I believed it like a dummy. Now I could say like a dummy. Don't regret any of my children, but their fathers used to beat on me real bad. They used to beat me, and after a couple of years, dealing with their fathers, I was in serious relationships. But dealing with one particular one, I just couldn't take the beatings anymore, so I moved on. And I just couldn't take it anymore. He was my 4th child, and I couldn't take it no more with his father. So, I moved. Got my own apartment in Hartford. Couldn't afford a house, got my apartment in Hartford though. Obviously had to go on welfare because now I have 4 kids doing it by myself. Had jobs here and there, working in Wendy's, working in McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts. One time I had to become a stripper to, make ends meet. Really didn't want to do that, get into that life, but I was just probably for 4 months or so. I found out, 4 months I was in a stripping life. Found out I was pregnant. I stopped that. That's when I went to go work at Wendy's. Worked there for a couple of years. Well, not years, maybe like a year. Went back upstate to New York. Upstate, lived with my grandmother for a little while because it was just too much or whatever. And then came back to Connecticut. Got pregnant again. Met my son's father. Lied about his age. Lied saying that he got his own apartment and stuff when he really lived in a residential. But the age difference wasn't that bad. He was legal. He was 19. I think I was about 20-something, 21, maybe 22. That didn't work out. He was just a liar, and it just didn't work out. Got pregnant in the same year that I had my son, 2010. got pregnant in the same year, so I have Irish twins. Um, was with him for quite a while. I knew him when I was 16 years old, so it's not like I, didn't know him. I knew him since I was 16. Um, he did prison time. We re-met again. Had a kid by him. Started. He wasn't the hitting type, but he would play video games, not want to get a job, ask his family for help for us while I was working. He'll watch the kids, but, I needed the man to work, not me waking up for a baby at night and working. It was too hard. Now I already have 6 kids. My son was 4 years old. The middle-ish one, they're all like in the middle. He's 12 years old now. Put the house on fire by an accident. I dropped the candle on the floor, and it was carpet, so it traveled in the room where my last son was at, Jakai. He was sleeping, the baby was sleeping. My son Mason was too young, to say that there was a fire, so he just closed the door. And my nephew noticed the smoke because it was up and downstairs. It was a 4-floor house. So I'm thinking, getting the kids ready for school, getting them ready for breakfast and all of that. And my nephew's like, "You smell that, Jessica?" I'm like, "No, smell what?" And I'm like, "You farted or something?" He's like, "No, it smells like smoke coming from upstairs. There's smoke." So I froze. I didn't know what to do. I just froze right there, just froze. My son's father ran upstairs, opened the door. All you seen was black smoke. He grabbed my son, ran down the stairs. We called the fire department. They came. Red Cross helped us or whatever. They put us up or whatever. Was able to afford a house now with all my kids. He went back to jail, selling and trading a gun for narcotics to an undercover like an idiot. Was separated for a while, and I met my husband, who I'm with now, that I've been for 8 years with him, married for 5 years. He's the love of my life. We have no biological kids, right now, but he takes care of all 6 of them like, they're his. He loves them to death. They love him. I could not ask for somebody better. We met when he was working on one of my houses. I had a roommate that needed to live with me, that had nowhere to go, and him and his wife stayed with me. I went to go look at the house where I was moving to because it was still getting worked on. So, long story short, I see this guy working in the house. Nice black tall guy, built like good looking as hell, ladies. I look around the house. I caught him looking at me, looked at him a couple of times, and I'm like, damn, he looks good as hell in my head. Run back downstairs, finished seeing the house, went back downstairs, and finish seeing the house, ran back downstairs, told the guy and his wife, they were young, maybe like 50 something. I'm like, oh my God, Richard, this guy, he's upstairs, he's doing the floors, he's so sexy, like, oh my God, I can't wait to move in. He is cute. So unfortunately he was married at that time. I came the next day, I kept coming around just to see, how the house was going, how much longer, because I needed to be out of the other house that I was in. They was evicting me and my kids. So we was like, going over there almost every day. So then me and him started talking. I'm like, why you always look sad for every time, I see you? He was telling me about his story, his life or whatever. He wasn't happy with his relationship, he was married. So we started talking. He was already going to get a divorce. Basically, we got we started talking. I said, well, if you're not happy, you can move in. You can stay here with me, if you want. We've been talking, though, for like 4 months, 4 to 5 months, or even longer before I let him come in, to meet my kids and everything. I did, have a talk with my kids and sat them down. Some of them were old enough, to understand, like my daughter and my son, the one that's 14. They weren't happy about it because they were just used to me and them. It was just me and my kids. That was it. So he moved in eventually. And 2 years after after we were together, we got married in 2000 and, he's gonna kill me. It was December 3rd, 2014. I got it on my chest because he's also a tattoo artist. And we've been together ever since then. 8 years, 5 years married, love of my life. We have our ups and downs or whatever, what marriage don't. But I'm definitely, happy with my husband. Looking on, working on making, working on bigger things and, things like that. Kids are happy. I'm happy. He's happy. We live in a big, big house now. About to get out of Connecticut maybe in the next 2 years. But yeah, that's my documentary. Hit those comments. If you got any comments, give me some thumbs up. Subscribe on my channel. And, hit your girl back. Any questions you got for me, I'll be glad to answer, truthfully. But give me them big thumbs up.